There is a quiet panic that lives beneath the surface of a busy life. It is the subtle, persistent feeling that you are constantly running out of time. The philosopher Alan Watts saw this frantic rush not as a problem to be solved with better time management, but as a deep misunderstanding of the nature of endings. It's a life lived at a breathless pace. Your calendar is a fortress against stillness, your bucket list a frantic race against an invisible clock. You collect experiences like souvenirs, rushing from one to the next, hoping that if you just accumulate enough moments, you will eventually feel full. But the result is a strange and hollow anxiety. You have become a tourist in your own existence, taking pictures of every landmark, but truly inhabiting none of the places. And the great paradox is that in your desperate attempt to not waste your life, you are missing it completely as it happens. But what if this panic is not a signal to run faster, but an invitation to finally stop running? What if the end that you fear is not a thief that steals life's meaning, but the very thing that gives it shape and beauty? This is not a journey about how to cheat death or live forever. It is a journey to understand its essential place in the music of our lives. We will explore a profound truth inspired by Watts' philosophy, that a song made of only notes is just noise. It is the silence between the notes that creates the melody. We are about to learn how to listen to the silence. This frantic race is not a personal pathology. It is the fever dream of a culture in profound denial. We treat death as a medical failure, a topic to be avoided at the dinner table, an enemy to be fought to the bitter end. We have scrubbed it clean of its dignity and hidden it behind hospital walls. But this denial doesn't make the fear go away. It creates a shadow, and in that shadow grows a deep, unspoken terror that fuels our need to be constantly busy, constantly consuming, constantly distracted from the quiet truth of our own impermanence. This leads to the great loop we must now unravel. We have been taught that the value of a life is measured by its duration, by the sheer quantity of notes we can play before the music stops. But what if the meaning of a song has nothing to do with its length? What if the ending is not the destruction of the melody, but the final, resonant silence that gives the entire piece its meaning? To explore this, we need a guide who is a master of listening to both the notes and the silence. Alan Watts was a philosopher of wholeness. He saw how our Western minds love to split reality into warring opposites, good versus evil, mind versus body, and most profoundly, life versus death. Drawing on Taoist and Zen wisdom, he spent his life pointing out that these are not two separate forces in conflict. They are two sides of the same coin. They are inseparable partners in a cosmic dance. He offered a key to unlock this false opposition. It begins not by looking at death, but by re-examining who it is that lives. In the next part of our journey, we will explore the fundamental illusion that fuels our fear, the idea that you are a separate ego, a lonely visitor who was born into this world and will one day be tragically kicked out. We will begin to see why you are not in the universe, but an expression of it, and how this realization utterly transforms the meaning of an ending. Let's begin by examining the core illusion mentioned in our last section, the feeling that you are a lonely visitor, an ego trapped inside a bag of skin. We feel that the I, the real self, is inside, while the vast, indifferent universe is out there. This feeling of being a separate, isolated consciousness is the source of our deepest fear of annihilation. But where, precisely, does your body end and the world begin? The air that is in your lungs right now was, just a moment ago, the outside world. The light that is entering your eyes and forming your vision of these words began its journey from a star, 93 million miles away. The atoms that make up your hand were forged in the heart of a supernova, billions of years ago. You are not a sealed container, separate from the world. You are a permeable, breathing, and continuous process of the universe itself. Alan Watts often used the metaphor of a wave and the ocean. We, in our anxiety, have come to believe that we are the wave, a distinct, temporary, and fragile form, terrified of its inevitable crash upon the shore. We spend our brief existence trying to hold ourselves together, fearing the moment of our dissolution. But this is a case of mistaken identity. You are not the wave. You are the entire ocean, temporarily expressing itself in the beautiful fleeting form of a wave. The end of the wave is not a tragedy for the ocean. It is simply the ocean returning to itself. You were never just a visitor here. You are the whole show. Just for a moment, feel your own pulse. That rhythm, is it yours? Or is it the rhythm of the cosmos, the same ancient pulse that has been beating in every living thing since the first stirrings of life on this planet? You are not just living. You are a channel through which the universe is currently alive. This realization is the first step. It shifts the entire conversation from my small finite life to the eternal process of life expressing itself as me. But this can feel abstract. How does this connect to the music and the silence we spoke of? The connection lies in understanding that all beauty and meaning in the universe depend on this interplay between something and nothing, between form and emptiness. Think of a piece of music. Every note is what it is because of the notes that came before and the notes that will come after. But more profoundly, every single note is given its power and its meaning by the silence that surrounds it. A continuous, unending drone with no beginning, no end, and no pauses is not music. It is just noise. The soul of a melody is born in its rising and its falling, in the spaces between the sounds. The silence is not the enemy of the music. It is an essential part of its structure, its beauty, its very existence. Your life is a song that the universe is singing. Your birth was the first note in a vast silent cosmos. Your experiences, your joys, your sorrows, these are the notes that form your unique melody. But the song only has beauty, it only has meaning, because it does not go on forever. The final silence, death, is not the opposite of your song. It is the canvas upon which your song is painted. It is the pause that gives the preceding note its poignancy and power. To fear death, to spend your life running from it, is like a musician who is terrified of rests and pauses. Such a musician can only create a frantic, shallow, and meaningless tune. But this is a difficult and radical idea. Our entire culture is built on trying to make the song louder and longer, to pretend the silence isn't coming. So to live more fully, do we have to become morbid and obsessed with the end? Not at all. The great paradox is that a conscious, gentle relationship with the silence is the only thing that allows you to truly, finally hear your own music. To do this, we must learn the art of the present moment. Think of a masterful dancer, completely absorbed in her performance. Where is her mind? It is not on the final bow she will take when the dance is over. If it were, every movement would be stiff, hesitant, and tainted by the anxiety of the ending. The magic of her dance, the reason we can't look away, is that she is completely and utterly one with the music right now. She is fully inhabiting this step, this gesture, this breath. The breathtaking beauty of her performance is born from a total absorption in the present. The frantic, hurried life is the dance of an anxious performer who is obsessed with the final curtain. We are so busy worrying about the end of the song that we cannot feel the rhythm of the note that is playing right now. We rush through our lives hoping to get to a grand finale, without realizing that the entire point of the dance is the dancing. This is the great secret. To accept your mortality, to befriend the silence, is the key that unlocks the eternal present. It is the act that allows you to stop being a frantic tourist in your life and to finally become an inhabitant. It dissolves the fear of the future and allows you to return to the only place you are ever actually alive, here and now. But how do we practice this? How do we learn to be fully in the dance when our fear of the final silence is so strong? In our final section, we will explore the simple and profound art of living a finite life as if it were infinite. by discovering the infinity that is contained within every single moment. We have journeyed from the frantic tourist to the graceful dancer. We have seen that the key to a full life is not to ignore the final curtain, but to become completely absorbed in the dance. So how do we practice this? How do we discover the infinity that is hidden in our finite moments? The art of living in the eternal now is the practice of honoring the small endings. Our life is not one single song, but a symphony of countless tiny melodies, each with its own beginning, middle, and end. The fear of the great final silence makes us clumsy with all the small silences. We rush from one moment to the next, never allowing a single experience to have its graceful completion. The practice is to find the beauty in the goodbye. When you finish a cup of tea, instead of immediately reaching for your phone, take one extra second to feel the residual warmth of the empty cup. When a beautiful piece of music ends, don't rush to fill the void. Savor the resonant silence that hangs in the air, the space the music created. When you part ways with a friend, be fully present in that moment of farewell. By consciously honoring the thousands of tiny deaths that happen every day, you are not being morbid. You are practicing the art of being fully alive. You are training your soul to see that endings are not a tragedy, but the natural and necessary counterpart to beginnings. The portable wisdom is this: don't just finish things. Experience their ending. Let there be a moment of silence after each note. This is how you learn to stop rushing through your life and start inhabiting it. You are not practicing for death. You are practicing for life. By befriending the silence in these small moments, you learn to hear the music of the present moment with a heartbreaking and beautiful clarity. This simple shift changes the entire texture of your existence. The frantic need to accumulate more experiences softens, replaced by a desire for a deeper quality of experience. The meaning of your life is no longer a grand prize waiting at some future finish line, but something you create right now with the quality of your attention. The fear of the great final silence begins to lose its power, because you realize that silence has not been a stranger waiting for you at the end of the road. It has been your most intimate companion all along. It is the loving, spacious background out of which every note of your life has arisen. So the final invitation is not to dwell on the thought of death, but to inhabit your life so completely that the thought of its end becomes a source of poignancy, not panic. As you move through your day, through the symphony of small moments that is your life, can you begin to listen differently? Can you honor the small endings so that you may more fully cherish the notes while they are playing? What if the deep, meaningful existence you've been rushing to find is not ahead of you in the future, but is available right here, in the breathtaking beauty of this one, precious and perfectly fleeting note?